When the world changed the way it applauds, it didn't happen with a crash, it happened with a silence. Welcome back to GTWJ. If you're watching this, you've lived through the loudness, the logos, the virality, the dopamine of an image that proved something to someone else. Today we're asking a quieter, harder question. What happens when desire itself shifts? What does luxury look like when people stop buying to be seen and begin buying to be understood? Close your eyes for a moment and picture a room. Once it was full of people looking at each other's labels. Now the room still exists, but the people in it are turned inward. They touch the fabric, they ask how it was made. They wonder whether the price really maps to the life the piece will lead with them. This is not the death of luxury. It is the birth of a different desire. Here's the first truth we have to accept. Luxury stopped being a single language. For years it was a loud, simple grammar, names, symbols, instant recognition. But language evolves. In 2025 that grammar began to fracture. People who can afford the best stopped measuring status by the same yardstick and started measuring it by something more private: coherence, provenance, and emotional return. In the same breath that prices climbed, patience sharpened. The result is not collapse, it is refinement. So what shattered the spell? There isn't one villain, there isn't one scandal that rewired taste. Instead, there is an accumulation, small betrayals that add up. When price rises faster than care, when an €8,000 bag scratches like plastic, when stores sell spectacle without substance, when a brand asks us to perform for other people more often than it nurtures the purchaser, trust erodes. Trust in luxury is the most precious currency. Once it cracks, desire splinters into many corners, into nostalgia, into second-hand markets, into tiny ateliers that still know how to stitch a seam by hand. Let's be candid about the math. Consumers are not merely counting euros, they are counting meaning. They are asking, does this item belong to my life? Will it age with me? Is the price honest about the labor and materials? If the answer is no, the purchase becomes a transaction of regret, not joy. What we saw in 2025 was a moment of collective re-evaluation. People realized that paying more does not guarantee better, and that realization is seismic. But emotion alone doesn't explain the shift. There is an economic logic here too. After years of expansion, the luxury market faces a structural tension. Growth pressures versus the discipline that gives luxury its gravitas. When brands chase scale without reinvesting in craft, something gives. And the buyer responds. They retreat from performative purchases and instead allocate their resources where a product's story, repairability, and materiality align with price. In short, buying becomes an investment in identity rather than a billboard of success. This is also a generational phenomenon. Younger buyers, raised on a mixture of access and awareness, are allergic to theatricality that lacks ethics or depth. They are far likelier to reward brands that demonstrate transparency, that let them trace the tannery who prepared the leather, the atelier that cut the textile, the person who finished the hem. In a world of infinite images, scarcity becomes meaningful only when it is authentic. The whisper of exclusivity must now be backed by a witnessable craft. If you're wondering what this looks like in practice, picture the boutique of 2026. It is quieter. The sales associate is not a performer, they are a guide. The ritual matters: measured conversation, careful packaging, visible repair options, a sense that your purchase is a long-term relationship, not a one-night stand. That is the new service luxury must provide. The houses that succeed will be the ones that treat buying as initiation into a craft, not as an Instagram moment. And lest we romanticize this too much, this shift carries risks. Quiet luxury can become a bland uniform of beige and boredom if it forgets to surprise. Restraint does not mean absence of imagination. The challenge for designers is to cultivate innovation that is earned by craft. Give me a sleeve detail that matters because it alters how a dress moves, not because it shocks a feed. Give me tailoring that sits like memory. Give me a handbag whose edges age into personality, not into peeling. Now let's talk about direction. How will people buy in 2026? First, fewer purchases, more deliberation. The impulse economy weakens as the research economy strengthens. Buyers will read beyond the glossy ad. They will seek proof of repair policies, of material origin, of regional atelier practices. They will consult communities, not to copy but to verify. Second, the entrance point will matter. Entry-level offerings are evolving. Brands will need to design smoother, honest ladders into their houses, pieces that feel like a fragment of the maison, not a watered-down imitation. Third, resale and repair will become central pillars of brand reputation. A product that resells gracefully because it is well made signals lasting value. A product that can be mended easily preserves identity. This recalibration also redraws power. Smaller niche ateliers gain influence. Their advantage is simple: agility and authenticity. When you produce fewer pieces, you tell stronger stories. When you craft locally, you can name the hands that made the garment. That intimacy is magnetic. It is why today's collector may buy a coat from a tiny house, not because the name is known, but because the coat functions like a private poem. Meanwhile, big houses must choose. Will they prove their worth through reinvestment in craft, or will they chase attention at the expense of meaning? We must address the critics. There is a chorus of people who truly miss the theatrical. They crave spectacle and the social rush it brings. And they are right to mourn it. Spectacle has always had its place in fashion's life cycle. The point is not to erase it, but to redistribute it. Fashion needs both the opera and the atelier. Our moment asks for equilibrium, daring within discipline, drama grounded in truth. For the people who watch us, here is the honest counsel. Your wardrobe is not a stage, it is a map of who you are. Building it should be joyful, not guilt-ridden. Buy less, choose better, and insist that price equals meaning. Learn the language of textiles. Keep a repairer in your contacts. Reward brands that answer your questions plainly. These are small practices that accumulate into refined taste. For the houses, the invitation is urgent. Remember why anyone trusted you in the first place. Invest in the people who stitch overnight. Show your buyers the craft, the mistakes fixed, the prototypes discarded. Make scarcity a philosophy of care rather than a marketing stunt. The brands that rebuild trust will not merely survive, they will become the arbiters of a new elegance, the kind that hums softly instead of shouting. We close with a scene. A pair of hands under a lamp, a needle sliding through double-thick leather. No audience, no flashbulbs. The sound is a tiny, perfect rhythm. Stitch, pull, press. That rhythm is a promise to value labor, to value durability, to value the quiet pleasure of owning something made with attention. That is the future we are stepping into. So tell us, do you want the theatre to return, or do you want the quiet workshop to lead? Which pieces in your wardrobe feel like you, and which felt like someone else? Follow GTWJ Mag on Instagram and come tell us. We are building a community that does not need to be loud to be true. We are here to translate the culture of fashion into language you can use, taste you can trust, and choices you can live with. Because true luxury at its best does not announce itself from the outside, it grows quietly from the inside.